Hi, I'm Gary LaRude. Welcome to a new season of On IMS as we look forward to the 2022 International Microwave Symposium in Denver. In this episode, we have the opportunity to speak with Stephen Rosenau about getting a paper accepted at IMS. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, to start, tell us a little bit about your industry background and your involvement with IMS.
Certainly. I'm Stephen Rosenau, and I'm an engineering program manager at Apple currently. I first got involved with the IMS a few years before IMS 2006. I was asked to become the finance chair. I enjoyed that role enough that in 2016, I became the technical program chair. And for the last several years, I have been serving in a smaller role as the chair of the industry paper competition and the advanced practice paper competition.
So, tell us a little bit about those two competitions, how they started, and what the objectives are.
The two competitions judge papers that pertain to or come from the industry. The industry paper competition, obviously, it judges papers that come from industry sources as opposed to academic or government research labs. And the advanced practice paper competition judges any paper that describes, in contrast to basic research, practical RF microwave design, technique, enhancement, process improvement that would be of particular interest to the industry. The idea behind these two competitions was to focus on papers that would be more interesting to industry participants at the IMS. These papers, of course, still have to go through the normal rigorous process and be fully vetted in a double-blind approach through the Technical Program Review Committee. So they have to be approved properly, fully double-blind, before they can be considered for the competition.
So, for someone that's working in industry, what's the benefit of presenting a paper at IMS, and what's the benefit for the company?
There are a number of benefits. Obviously, some of the benefits are the same as if you were in academia or a government research lab or something of that type of nature. The exposure of your new concept to other people allows for possible collaborations, allows for feedback, opportunities for you to vet your concepts with other leaders in the field that can help improve and refine your techniques and approaches. In addition, there's also a certain aspect of publicity in a sense. While it's certainly not an advertisement, and advertisements serve a different but similar purpose, there is an aspect where you are standing before leaders of the industry and saying, hey, we have the ability to do this that no one else knows or no one else can do. We have an approach, a technique, a novel, creative, new concept that we alone are able to do. Now, of course, there's a balance to this that intellectual property is often closely guarded in the corporate environment. And so there are challenges that you have to go through to try and make sure that you're protecting your company's intellectual property at the same time that you are publicizing your techniques. So there's a very fine line to balance on, but that can be done. And quite frankly, the rewards are amazing. Also, on a personal level, obviously, being able to get your name out there with an advanced technique or approach is also a plus for you as well as for your corporate sponsor.
So, I want to submit a paper. What maximizes my chance of having the paper accepted?
Be technical, be very technical. Obviously, a advertisement serves a different purpose, but an advertisement is not a technical paper. And the review committee will see that immediately and tends to not approve papers that read like advertisements. So what you want to do is focus on the technical aspects that you're trying to share, the technical information that you are proud of, that your company and that you have achieved. Focus on those. You can also acknowledge the advantages that this has to the industry, et cetera. Obviously, if you're dealing with an advanced practice kind of paper, you want to acknowledge how it can be used in an industry situation. But you need to focus on the technical innovations, the technical advantages. What is novel about this approach that you're sharing? And that information is what will get your paper accepted.
We'll talk some more about that because not every engineer is able to work on new technology or pushing the envelope. So, where's the line between something that would be Me Too and a paper that would be accepted?
So a Me Too paper, obviously, if the technology and the concept behind the paper that you're trying to submit is already being done broadly in the industry, then that's a Me Too paper. You're not going to get in that way. If, however, you're coming in with an approach that hasn't been done before, or that your company alone is doing or is capable of doing, or something that you have developed, your company has developed, this is new. This is novel. Novel is the key word. It needs to be a new approach. It does not necessarily have to be the latest technological advancement that is cutting edge research. A lot of the time that tends to come from research labs and universities. But in the industry, there are also a lot of product developments that would count as being novel and cutting edge because they do have something that has never been done before. Even a process that is completely novel and a new creation is worthy of publication. But it really needs to be new and cutting edge, not something that's been done before. So if you've seen it before in a paper, you're probably not going to get it in. If you've never seen this before and you know that you are unique, excellent. This is a fantastic material.
So, switching now to your experience in industry and your industry perspective, what can we do as a technical community to collectively increase the engagement between companies and the Microwave Theory and Technique Society and IMS?
This paper competition is one such example, and we should support other things of that type of nature that help bridge the gap between the university and the research lab kind of locations and other parts of the industry. We should be encouraging folks that are coming in from industry to attend the IMS from all sorts of different walks of life, acknowledge their input and the responses that they will give back to papers, even if they come as attendees and not as paper presenters. They still can be greatly valued in the discussions that happen after papers are presented, whether it's in the formal Q&A session or in meetings in the hallway following. Industry participation can be encouraged also by making sure that we include industry members in everything from the Technical Program Review Committee to the actual committees that arrange and organize conferences. Now, of course, that means that industry people have to volunteer, much like I have done, and others much like me that participate by coming forward and volunteering. You are not unable to volunteer as a corporate citizen, as it were. I'm certainly proof of that, and there are a lot of folks like me who have participated in that regard.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Volunteering helps to keep the society active and engaged. So this has been very helpful. Or is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Come to IMS. It's a wonderful experience, whether you are in the academia, a research lab, industry, whatever walk of life you come from. The opportunity to come here, the most cutting edge research processes, techniques from a broad spectrum of different people from all over the world is amazing. The experiences I've had as both an attendee and as a volunteer have been wonderful. I have actually attended more conferences than I have volunteered for, even though at this point I've volunteered for quite a few. But even the attendee experiences have been great. So come to IMS and submit paper. As a member of the industry, you can do it. It takes a little bit of effort. You have to go through a process. You have to convince your company of the value, but there is strong value. So go ahead, go through that process. Take the time. It's worth it for both you and your company to submit that paper and to publish those results.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your perspective and your insight with us. It's very helpful. And the deadline for paper submission is December 7th, so there's still time to get a paper submitted for IMS in Denver. Until next time.